Fantastic Four number 35. That is right, folks. We're celebrating 60 years of the first family of Marvel, and my goodness, has it been a long time coming. I feel like the Fantastic Four have been on the back burner for a while when it comes to modern Marvel. They've never really had anything big happen until Dan Slott decided to come over and make them something special again. And this book, and this issue in particular, it's really strong. It is. It just really encapsulates what I think the tone of Fantastic Four is. Big concept ideas focused on family and out-of-the-ordinary concepts given to Reed Richards to deal with. And this book really plays with that trope in a really compelling and fun way. So, let's get into it. We pick up where we left off with the Bride of Doom stuff. The Fantastic Four is headed home. They kind of got an emergency and they want their kids to open up the bay doors, so they do. And we're kind of like, Johnny's going to be on fire for a while. And I understand what he's going through. Ben's trying to tell Alicia, like, I understand what he's doing. But it's tough. And Johnny's trying to come to terms with his reality for the moment, but it's not really going the way he wants it to. And before Reed can even, like, get to the lab to think of a solution, suddenly, like, some weird device opens up randomly in their house. They're like, what is this? Where did this come from? Or when did it come from? And Reed's looking at it. And then we get something I imagine, well, okay, maybe not imagine was a mandate, but I'm sure that Dan Slott is smart enough to know Kang was going to be a big presence in Loki and going forward in the MCU, so we're going to get a Kang story out here. So in Never Space, just a space between spaces, we see that the Sphinx ship is just flying across everything. We see Ramatuta's piloting it, and then Immortus talks to him. He's like, hey, we're coming aboard. Hang on, everyone's shown up. So then a Council of Kangs just starts forming, and they're talking to each other. We see that Kang the Conqueror is there. The Scarlet Centurion is there. And then another unknown one kind of shows up that nobody really has heard of before. His name is Scion. They're like, who's this guy? I'm the last of all of you. At the very end of everything you guys do, that's who I am. And so all these Kangs, different versions of this guy are here, and they're like, okay, we have this like one thing in the world that none of us have, and there's different points in time that have it. There's like all these different devices. It's from Nathaniel Richards. It's something we're all trying to search for, and when it comes together, we can make it all together and do this one thing. So the pieces are scattered through time, and they're all kind of being held by Reed Richards. So Immortus is kind of like, what's to make a wager, I say. We all go to different points in time when the device from Nathaniel Richards is scattered with the Fantastic Four. You four will go hunt it down and find it, and whoever has the best story of how they killed the Fantastic Four, well, you win it all. You win everything we have in our treasure trove here. And they're like, yeah, of course we'll do it. So we see Ramatut, the Scarlet Centurion, Kang the Conqueror, and Scion go on their way to deal with that. And we cut to a little bit later where we see the TVA again. Of course, the TVA is here to monitor this stuff. They're like, it's obviously the Kangs that are messing with the timeline because they're assholes. It's got to be them doing all this stuff. It's definitely the Kangs. So we see later Immortus is just standing like, okay, I have my book ready. I can't wait to write the notes and what's going on here. Ramatut is the first to return, then the Scarlet Centurion, then Kang, and Scion like breaks through his thing. He's like really hurt. They're like, oh, what's up, old man? You can't keep up with the young kids anymore. He's like, I dealt with the version from a future that none of you have dealt with yet. So mine were tougher than all your other little bitches, okay? Don't give me that shit. And then we get just, what was the story of how these guys got their piece of the Nathaniel Richards puzzle? We first see Ramatut. He goes to like their like earlier days of the Fantastic Four. The Thing is being honored for his fight against the Hulk, and we see that Johnny sees him in like a silly outfit. He makes fun of him, and they come to fight each other. But all of a sudden, when those two are fighting and Reed and Sue are trying to stop them from bashing blows, in comes Ramatut with like some mummies that are robots. They all start fighting, and it looks like that Sue is about to be killed, and that's how he kills every member of the Fantastic Four. And everyone's like, oh, that's a good story, dude. You did really fun with that story. Like, that was really cool to see. But mine was way better. And then we get the Scarlet Centurion story of how he fought the Fantastic Four right after the events of Onslaught. You know, that classic era of comic books that I know people are fond of. I don't care. Never cared for it. So he goes to, like, the old Baxter building, which is now being held by the Thunderbolts. He's like, hey, guys, I'm going to use you for something. Come with me. He controls them. We go to the other location the Four Freedoms Plaza where the new Fantastic Four are there, and we see that Ben's looking to put on his helmet when he wore that helmet for that era because he got scarred on his face. And then we see that the Scarlet Centurion comes in with the Thunderbolts. They get into a big fight, and it looks like he's going to kill everyone. Pretty exciting stuff. He straight up just like kills the Thing. And he's like, that was a great fight. I barely did anything, and I defeated them so easy. You guys are pussies compared to the Scarlet Centurion. You know, that version of Kang that nobody knows. And our normal version of Kang is like, guys, you don't even understand the stuff I've dealt with when we did this, okay? Wait till you get a load of this fun spectacle. So, Kang the Conqueror heads to the version of the Future Foundation, which is like the few days after Johnny Storm came back from being killed in the negative zone. He's just trying to, like, they're celebrating, but he's like, I'll keep this all together right now. I'm just going to go find somebody. And he sees that Ben is in the other room, just kind of sad, and he's like, what's going on, buddy? And he's just like, well, I could have saved you, John. Like, I really could have done that, but I just let you die, and I feel bad about it. But they're just grieving and reconnecting with each other in a beautiful way. It's gorgeous to see that. And as they're just reconnecting, in comes Kang, and everyone's like, we should fight him. And it looks like Kang kills Johnny again, and everyone's like, oh, we just got him back. And then Thing goes in for the kill, but he gets stabbed in the chest with Excalibur or something. And then we just see Kang brutally murders everyone else in the house. You're just like, what? He gets the piece and he leaves. He's like, yeah, that's how I did it. Try topping that one, Scion. And we see Scion's like, oh, trust me, mine's way more intense than yours. So Scion is the being that comes to the modern day Fantastic Four when they're all just like, what's going on? And he's like, trust me, my powers aren't comparable and I'll do everything to stop you. He turns Reed and Ben into babies. He turns Johnny and Sue into elderly people and just kills them. And he takes the pieces, and every one of the Kangs is like, you just murdered a baby? You murdered an elderly person? No, we're not putting that in the books about our lives, dude. You killed a baby? He's like, yeah, you try fighting them. They're tough. I had to turn them into babies to defeat them. They're all turning on Scion like, no. That's dumb. But he's also like, aha, see? That was a lie. Actually, what happened was I went to the timeline of Ramatut, and I saved Susan Storm before she died. And he's like, what are you talking about? And then I went to the timeline of the Centurion, and I saved the Thing before he died. And then we went to the timeline of Kang, and we saved Johnny Storm before he died. Because, lo and behold, I'm actually Mr. Fantastic from a different timeline, and I'm here to mess you all up. And then they get into a big fight, and they're like, what? I love it. That is such a Reed Richards thing to do, just being the biggest dick in the room. He gets into a fight. They're able to take them all down in these beautiful ways. It's really cool. The Thing kind of gets hit by like this weird like timeline gun where it's like affecting his timeline. We see different versions of the Thing just blasting through. He's like, no matter what happens to me, I'm Ben Grimm, the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing, and he just beats the crap out of the Scarlet Centurion. It's really cool to see. They kind of take everybody down, and the Sphinx kind of comes alive to take them down, but it doesn't really work because the TVA shows up, and they're like, huh, you guys seen Loki? Loki at us? We were in Loki. And Sue's like, who the hell are these guys? And Reed and Johnny just go, yeah, well, you'll learn about them later. So, be prepared. The Reckoning War is coming. Don't forget, guys, it's on its way. And we see everyone saying their goodbyes, and everything's going well. And Reed returns to his main timeline with the entire puzzle connected that all the Kangs built. And the TVA are like, should we stop him from taking that device? He's like, nah, it's a gift from his dad. He was supposed to have it. Let's let him go. We shouldn't mess with Mr. Fantastic right before the Reckoning War. He's like, what are you talking about? Nothing. Goodbye. So we go back to the present day, and that is our modern day Reed Richards that put this all together. And everybody shows up, and he's like, do you guys remember when we went on that adventure through time? Like, where we all died? He's like, no, what are you talking about, Reed? So they build this weird device, and Johnny's like, dude, it's great that you went through time and fought a bunch of people. That's great, but I'm still on fire here, and I'm getting nervous. Can you please help me? And everyone doesn't really know how to, like, talk to Johnny in this situation, but it's Ben who's like, dude, I'm here for you for anything. I know exactly what you're going through, and for years you have been there for me when I went through this. I promise you I will help you every step of the way to get this out. Please just take a moment to just relax for a second. It helps Johnny. And I love it because, there was that time where it's just these two, especially in the beginning of the book where it's Ben and Johnny just together and the rest of the Fantastic Four is off doing their own thing. I love it when these two have moments, and it works really well in this book. Very cool to see that. So we see Reed connects this device. He's like, okay, what were the Kangs wanting with this? And he realizes, oh, this is a recording from my father. And he's like, congratulations, son. You have found all the pieces of the puzzle to build me up. And, I've lived a million lifetimes. I've done a lot of weird shit. I'm your dad, and I'm a lunatic. So I have, I've just done a lot of weird stuff, son. And in that time, there's a lot of stuff I've done. I remember your mother and your family. I've had wives and family members galore, but I've also had another family entirely. And this right here, this is your sister. And I hope you will find her and look after her as, you have built a family to look after one another. Reed is on the verge of tears. He's like, oh, what? Family does come first. That's what our family motto is. And everyone's looking at this picture of who Reed's sister is. We don't see what she looks like or what she's up to, but hey, cool. Interesting enough. Curious to see how that's going to tie into things. I love this idea of expanding the Fantastic Four's family. We got Nikki and Val in here. Alicia's now part of the family through marriage with Thing. We got, Valeria and Franklin, and Skye was here for a bit, but she's no longer here. It's great to see everybody connecting, just having a good time, and Reed now has a secret sister he's going to learn about. That's pretty cool. Then we do kind of get like a backup here where we see the events of the first Fantastic Four story and like the aftermath of it. It's kind of fun. It looks really interesting. The characters are in character, and it's just a really cool like kind of retelling of like the origin, the early days of these characters. Fun to see what they've become and what they've been through. Oh, I just love the Fantastic Four. It's so great to see them have a good book. And this special that represents 60 years, it was kind of fun to go back to all like the highlights of the characters throughout time. The Future Foundation, the Onslaught era, the early days, and just see what they've become. And having the Kangs and the Time Variance Authority, very easy. Understand the need to do that, though. It's like, hey, I know Slott's smart enough to realize, I don't know if he wrote this before or after Loki, but I know he's smart enough to realize they're popular. Let's put them in here. And Romita's artwork, it's as good as modern day Romita. You like it or you don't. I'm not a big fan of it, but I can get past it when the story is kind of cool. The kids look really young. I think that's the thing that kind of bothered me with Romita's stuff is that the kids look younger than they are actually supposed to be in the timeline, which is weird, but whatever. It's a cool book that celebrates the 60 years of the Fantastic Four and tells some cool stories with them. And I think I'm just even more excited to see the future of Dan Slott writing this book going forward. I know not everyone's liked his run, but I think it's about as good as Fantastic Four can be in the modern era, just representing all of that classic science fiction stuff we love to see dealt with. It's very fun, it's very cool, and I can't wait for 60 more years of the Fantastic Four. Hopefully, in those 60 years, I will be able to write something involving the first family. So, Fantastic Four, issue number 65. Nope, it's 35. I'm not going to edit that out. It's 35. I am going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.